Yeah, hi there, Tushar. This is Michael. I am the founder, owner, and the materials writer for this TOEFL online course called the 7-Step System to Pass a TOEFL IBT. And it looks like you completed independent speaking practice test number 54 over at my VoxyPop discussion group, right? So let's hear what you had to say, and I'll try to give you some feedback either during the practice test or after.
Because my uncle was a scientist and my science professor was so honest and polite person, so science was my favorite subject during the school time.
Okay, so you actually have your two key points in the beginning. So your uncle was a scientist, it's your favorite subject. Let's see how you develop these points.
As I told earlier, my uncle was a scientist, so
And don't forget with the T, the told, as I was told earlier, you need to pronounce that T with more air.
whenever I used to see him, he was doing
Don't forget, I used to, I used to see him. And with the word do, he used to do, do.
conducting some experiments. I used to be
Experiments.
feeling that one day I'm gonna be a scientist, so that's how I created a passion about science subject.
That's good. So you have your example to help illustrate your uncle and his connection to you and how he influenced you to be interested in science.
And my professor was also a very nice, honest and polite person. He never used to yell at us and he used to be calm and make us understand.
He used to be calm and made us understand, I think. Made is probably a little bit too strong. You might say helped us understand. Made is like he forced you to. So I'm not sure if that's exactly the right word you want to use based on the tone you're using, right? Let me go back to the intro for a minute.
Because my uncle was a scientist and my science professor was so honest and polite person, so science was my favorite subject during the school time. As I told earlier, my uncle was a
I would say as I said earlier, not as I told earlier, or as I told you earlier, but I don't think you is the right point of view, so I would use the word said there instead of told.
scientist. So whenever I used to see him, he was conducting some experiments.
He was conducting, I would say one or the other. He was doing experiments or he was conducting experiments.
He used to be feeling that one day I'm gonna be a scientist, so that's how I
would just say he used to feel. Instead of used to be feeling, I probably would rephrase it that way.
created a passion about science subject. And my professor was also a very nice.
Maybe use a transition word in there, say something like, well, in addition to my uncle influencing me with science, one of my professors also had a big impact on my interest in the subject. Something like that, a transition sentence like that. It connects what you've already said and then it introduces the new point that you want to talk about.
He's so honest and polite person. He never used to yell at us and he used to be calm and make us understand.
Okay, so let's take a look at how you will score on this particular practice test. So overall, I don't think you'll get in the 3 range. You have a number of problems here. I think you have delivery and language use issues. I think your topic development was actually strong. You had a solid organization. You had your 2 points. You illustrated those through details in your response. So that was good. So I think here I'm going to put you in the 2 range for the comments I just gave you. You have some pronunciation problems and some language use issues. As I pointed out, sometimes you're not sure what word to use or what type of grammar to use, so you have to keep working in those areas in order to score higher on the TOEFL speaking section. So right now I'm going to put you at about 2.16 out of 4, or 17 points out of 30 on this particular practice test.